Hello and welcome to Daytona International Speedway, Florida in the USA. We're here for the second weekend of Ferrari Challenge North America. And the cars are rolling out now for the first qualifying session of the weekend, following a fair bit of practice this week. And then, of course, official practice yesterday, Friday. It's Pirelli AM who are up first out on track. There is a look at the beautiful building here. If you've never been to Daytona, this place is spectacular. It is huge. There are 100,000 seats in that grandstand overlooking the very famous venue. Sonoma Raceway is where we started the season just over a month ago. Now Daytona International Speedway. We're moving just down the road to Miami's F1 track in May. Legendary Indianapolis for the Brickyard in June, then Watkins Glen, beautiful circuit in July, Laguna Seca in September, and of course the finale Mondiale in Mugello in October. My name's Andrew Coley, alongside me is Tony Verlander. We're looking forward to taking you through this weekend here at Daytona. Here is a look at the track as well. So our track map uses a fair bit of the banking, but the course mainly known for the 24 hours of Daytona with the infield sections as well. Turn 1's going to be very interesting. Number of drivers haven't been here before and aren't used to the speeds of close to 190 miles an hour we've seen on the exit of turn 12 through the banking underneath the main building here. And then a tightening turn 1 on the brakes, which is just off over to your left-hand side of this shot now, as we can see the drivers in pit lane getting themselves ready to go. It's a beautiful day here in Florida, a little bit cooler than yesterday. Tyre pressure checks going on. There it is, 25 Celsius. Yesterday it got up to 28. That's actually hotter than they were expecting. They were thinking around 22 today. As track temperature, sorry, yes, air temperature down at 17. So it is a little bit cooler, and that will help definitely with the longevity of the Pirelli tyres. We know that the ideal lap is about lap 3, but I've got someone who's much more of an expert than me. So my name is Andrew Coley, and Tony Verlander, who is a Ferrari ambassador and, of course, a very successful GT racer, is sat next to me. Tony, temperatures will make a big difference to tyres, won't they?
Yeah, it's true. Now we have a colder track. We had some bad weather overnight, so you need some patience. You need to build up the tire temperatures. You need to have the car and the tires ready when you go for that fast lap. It might take even a lap or two more than you were expecting. Yesterday afternoon was quite hot, and this morning is a different story. Very particular racetrack. The characteristic is top speed. Most of the lap is full throttle, trimming, like they say in US, trimming. So yeah, taking the rear wing out. Also the ride height. What is the balance between the height in the rear of the car and the front of the car to have the low drag on the main straights? And quick visit yesterday to some of the teams and the drivers. They were still fine-tuning the car and to see where the lap time was lost or gained, and then to have the best combination for this morning.
Yeah, lots of people have been struggling a little bit with setup to get that ideal window, so we'll run you through that as we go through the qualifying session for the 4 different categories. We do, of course, have some feet on the ground down in the pit lane. Nina Jade Poole joins us again. Nina Jade, good morning, good afternoon. What time of day is it here? It's still the morning? Yeah, it's still the morning, just. No. Yes, morning.
Yes, absolutely, Andrew. I just checked my watch and it still is the morning. I must say it's an absolute pleasure to be here, especially after the season opener in Sonoma. What a weekend, and it's going to be absolutely fabulous here at Daytona as well. I mean, this track really is one of the most iconic and unique circuits in the world of racing. It's almost like a track of 2 halves. Set in the fabulous Daytona Beach, this 3.56 mile circuit combines sheer top speed with technical finesse, having a layout that fully tests the capabilities of these Ferrari 296 Challenge cars, as well as the driver's abilities to extract every 10th of performance. I am currently down in the pit lane. As you can see, it is gorgeous sunshine, but like you said, Andrew, it is a little bit cooler today and a little bit windier. Cooler temperatures means happy tyres when you get them up to temperature, but wind can have a significant impact on performance, and quite a surprising impact as well, especially for these Ferrari 296 Challenge cars, where aerodynamics and stability play a huge role. It's no doubt these drivers have a lot to contend with this weekend, but that's what makes it fun. I'm raring to go, boys. Back to you.
Thank you, Nina Jade. Great update from down in pit lane. Yes, of course, it's the morning, Andrew. That's what jet lag does to you. But we're really looking forward to this. So, Tony, they have had a bunch of track time this week, as we said. I think some drivers have been here since Wednesday. Official practice, 10 sessions of practice Wednesday, Thursday, and then 3 official sessions yesterday. but still some of them are struggling to dial in exactly what they need. Some people have said they've tried everything and they still don't feel they're there. That must be frustrating for them.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of this series is you get a lot of track time, and then obviously on the other side is very competitive. So the competitiveness of these championships brings that even the slightest improvements with the car setup or the driver itself can make you gain a lot of places. So with racing is always the same basics. There's the driver skill, but also it's a teamwork. It's also how the team is preparing your race car and the knowledge, and you also see during the season the performance varies a little bit, but Daytona is very special on this side. How to prepare the race car. You may compromise a little bit the infield, so from corner number 1 even until corner number 6, just to have better speed through the banking and through the bus stop. So I've raced here a few times in Daytona 24, and it's not a normal circuit like we Europeans are used to, and this has some special character.
At least they haven't got to deal with the dark.
Yeah. In this occasion not, but it's a beautiful place, racing into the night, but also when you survive the night, and then when the sun is coming up, that's the best moment in Daytona 24 for me.
I bet it is, yeah. Everyone says that about Le Mans as well, don't they? Surviving the night is the thing, and the banking here, I mean, the speeds, we discussed it a little bit already. Some drivers yesterday, people are saying the dash says slightly different than what the data says, but either way, between 180 and 190 miles an hour for the top drivers, and that can depend a bit on a toe, but I think trying to time a toe during the qualifying session is going to be hard work.
Yeah, toe is always tricky, because you need to still match your braking places, braking points. You need to still carry the minimum speed throughout the corners. So if you gained on the slipstream, but then you lost the next corner, either in braking or the minimum speed, then it's almost lost the gain you had on the straight line. So normally, with my experience, most of the cases, you just go for your qualifying. If you get the slipstream, it's fine. Stay and stick to your plan, and that's the best solution in my mind.
So how important is qualifying here? In Sonoma, we knew it was very important. Obviously, it's quite a hard track to pass at Sonoma. There was a couple of opportunities in the hairpins. Here with the high-speed stuff, we might see some drafting, but how important is quali? Can you pass here?
Yeah, we go into a 30-minute race, but here the basics of racing are a bit different, like you said. With the slipstream, with the toe, you can overtake. If you lose a place, you may overtake it back on the next straight line. So it changes a little bit. Sometimes you say even the patience is here a bit more key than on a normal circuit. Obviously, it's good to start on the front row, control the race, and be there up with the leaders with the same speed. Even the tricky part with Ferrari challenges, the time differences are not huge. We have 4 different categories divided by performance, divided by the experience of the driver. So if you qualify bad, it may harm your race.
So we're looking at Sebastian Mascaro. He was P4 in the 3 official qualifying sessions and the fastest of the Pirelli Am drivers. And we saw him yesterday. His team, Ferrari of Central Florida, they're feeling pretty confident they've got the car dialed in. He goes quickest with the first of the time laps, but we are some 10 seconds off the pace of what we saw yesterday, so still warming up. But yeah, he really felt like it was dialed. Now, he was talking about the infield and how you've got to be really patient in the 2 hairpins not to cook the rears. And I said, look, that's fine when you're not in a race situation, but when you get stressed in the race and you've got somebody right behind your rear wing, that's a different story.
Yeah, but also coming into this qualifying, we have drivers that the experience level changes a bit. So they have their driver coaches who are pushing them all the time to just drive faster and faster. Now the driver, in his mind, he has the best performance from yesterday. You need to adapt a little bit to the track condition of today, of this morning, and that changes sometimes. You hear word overdriving. You just entered the corners too fast. You weren't allowed the tires to breathe a little bit, to work on that grip, the edge of the grip level, and then use it as a performance. And instead you were trying too much, and that sometimes it makes you even go slower.
So most of the drivers, or all the drivers, are still on lap 2 at the moment. Just scrolling through, so we've got a 148.9 from Ray Acosta at the top of the table, but Again, I think we'll see quicker than that, won't we? It's lap 3 is traditionally the really nice lap, but as you said, maybe with the cold temperatures we might see some later laps coming in.
And we saw also last year with the 296 the balance of the front and the rear tires. It seems often that the rear tires come in earlier than the front tires, and you just need to keep lapping few more laps, and then you see and feel the performance. So it's about balance as well between the front and the rear axle. We talk about understeer and oversteer, so these are the issues, these are the things that the drivers are always struggling and fighting with.
So this is the braking zone into the bus stop at the back. We were on board with Ray Acosta. Ray is down in P5 now. Oh, side race through there, so that you've got to watch out not to cook those rears, but then on the other hand, you want a good qualifying lap. Where's the balance, you know?
Yeah, and also you need to adapt the balance changes over the next laps, and then just hit your marks. I think he lost in the middle of the bus stop a little bit. The racing line also be tricky because you cannot really gain the grip back, and then you lose the momentum coming to the main straight towards the start and finish. Also, one very difficult place is coming into turn 1, where we enter the infield, because you come still from the little bit of banking and you hit the brakes very hard, so the car keeps moving a bit from side to side, and those are very typical, and also little tricks with the Daytona infield format.
I was watching yesterday that braking zone. It is tricky into one. I say so. You know, probably for most of these guys, low 180s. That's one of the potential overtaking opportunities up at the bus stop chicane. But as you heard Tony Blanda say, the exit from here is absolutely crucial, because you run in. That's turn 11, the last corner of the bus stop, through turn 12, this entire banked corner, and you've got to carry that speed through. So crucial there, and the two cars giving themselves a little bit of space, which is wise, I think. Top of the table, Roubaud currently with a 1:45.1, fastest times in Pro-Am. Mascaro did a 1:45.3, yeah, so that's quicker than Sebastian Mascaro went for his quickest time in the 3 official qualifying sessions. So we are now right in the window for those quick laps. Stewart through the right-hander in the infield. Infield's not that wide, Tony.
Yeah, that is true. With the challenge cars, you can see that is quite tight, but even with the multi-class racing that we have in Daytona 24, the infield is about the respect as well. You need to give space, know exactly where you place your race car. King, so turn 4, a very high-speed corner where if you run the exit curve too much, it almost takes you out from the track. So there's many small details on this, on paper very simple infield, but still a lot of tricks to be used. Many of the corners, just the grip is inside. Sometimes you feel that you don't need to really do a normal very round racing line. You just need to hit the apex as soon as you can. You will have some understeer anyway, so you may as well use a bit shorter distance. And those are the tricks of Daytona.
Yeah, a few of the drivers yesterday saying about trying to make the hairpins into a point, you know, getting in, turning the corner for less time, and then getting straight on the gas on the exit. You're looking at Brad Falver in the 66 up on the banking. Watch through here. This is coming down to the braking zone into 1. It's really hard to see from that camera angle about the transition as they come down the banking into the flat, and I believe it's off camera on the outside as well, so you can force somebody who's trying to pass you there, you can force them wide and give them all sorts of issues in turn 2.
Yeah, it's true. Turn 1, I always like the tightest racing line, so early turn in, hard braking, go down with the gears, use the engine braking to shorten the braking distance, and then the grip is inside. If you go over that area where you feel the off camber, it takes really the car out of the racing line. So it's not an easy place, turn 1.
Dave Musial, I saw him and his son Dave Musial 2.0 yesterday in hospitality, and they were 2 of the drivers who said they were really struggling to get it dialed in. He said, I've tried everything, and they're benchmarking themselves against their fellow competitors who they know well. They know roughly where they should be among the field and roughly what they would expect the gap to be to the top or otherwise. And he said, we're just not there. They've tried, yeah, and they're not there whatever the settings were. So I sensed some frustration there for them yesterday. Dave is currently in P9. Ferrari Lake Forest, he's on a 1:46.0, so he's 1.2 off the pole time of Rubbo at the minute. Mascaro is P2 on a 1:45.4, so that is, well, it's only a tenth of a second slower than he went during practice. Rafael Duran, you're looking at?
Yeah, the leaders, Joe Rubbo's lap time is very good compared to even the Pirelli drivers yesterday. Fastest was Dylan Medler, 1:44.487, so his lap time is very good. He was almost a second gap to the others early on. Now the other drivers are closing in, but still a very good performance.
Back with Duran. This is up on the banking. Pit entry is on the right-hand side of your screen there, so if you see a driver roll down the banking, that's where they're headed. And some people yesterday were saying we want to get our lap in as early as possible. They want to save the tyres for the race. Tactically, if you don't get a good lap, Tony, you have checkered flags out. So if you don't get a good lap early in the session, you're putting more laps on those tyres, and then you're going to struggle maybe in the race.
Yeah, that's true. You need to save those tyres. Even we have a quick format. We have a qualifying and then 30-minute race, but still the differences often in the race are done the second half of the race, and there you need the best tires, the best performance. We were talking earlier of the characteristic of Daytona. The other thing is banking. Some drivers, some teams are struggling a little bit with the setup because also in Daytona you run different camber numbers and also different tire pressures. So depending how much tires your car is using, you need to adapt to these settings, and that's one thing that then it oversees all the setup. So the main thing is have a safe, solid car on the banking, tire pressure wise and also camber wise, especially the rear camber. And then, like I said, that then oversees everything else what you do with the race car.
So Joe Rubbo wasn't with us in Sonoma at a 1:44.8. As Tony said, is a fantastic lap time. Benoit Bergeron, 1:46.0 P8. And now you see most drivers have taken the checkered flag. There might be one or two. I saw Mascaro was pulling into the pits in one of our shots a moment ago. So Rubbo looking extremely likely to hold on to that pole. There we are. You may have heard some emotion. But you know what? That's what it's all about. So we've got a few people still rolling back to the paddock. You're looking at Logan on a chill lap. Once you've taken that checker, there is no point in cooking those tyres anymore. You've got to complete nearly the whole lap, of course. Yeah, the whole lap to get back round to pit entry, haven't you?
Yeah, a little cool down lap is always good for the tyres. And our drivers in Ferrari Challenge, they take this racing, they're racing very seriously. And you, like you said, you can see some emotion after qualifying. Driver normally is a bit nervous before qualifying. You had a lot of practice time, but still the nervous and the will to do well and to do the best. Normally the target is to do the best lap time of the weekend so far, and to take most out of you, to give the best performance. Drivers really react differently. We have some calm drivers, some get a little bit emotional, but also nervous, and everybody is individual on this way, how to get the best shape, the best performance out.
And I was always a nervous competitor, and sometimes the adrenaline really helps and sometimes it doesn't. You have to try and channel that. But someone who's channeled it brilliantly is Joe Rubbo, the pole man, and he's with Nina Jade now.
Joe, how fabulous was that? You said you struggled in Daytona a few years ago, you crashed out in qualifying. Yes. You've come here, you weren't with us with Sonoma, and you've got the first pole of the weekend. How are you feeling?
My first time in the car in many months, and the guys gave me an incredible setup. Ryan Eversley's been coaching me all weekend and helping set up the car, and 111 competition. Ferrari Long Island just gave me the most perfect car. Don't touch anything. And like an out-of-body experience today, it was just amazing. And to do it here at Daytona, to beat pole, no matter what class you're in, this place is special. Now we're going to see the really fast guys. We're going to see Johnny Kaminsky go out there, and I'm hoping that my teammate rocks it and puts it on P1 right now.
Yeah, that's nice. Always supporting the team, Joe. When you crossed that line, did you know that lap was the one?
Yeah, it was my best lap of the whole weekend, so I was like, you know, I hope this is it. But everybody's going faster, right? It's cool out. You know, the cars are running great, and I knew that the young man who's behind me, Mascaro, is really, really fast, and I know he put it on P2. He actually gained some time on his next lap, but I think he caught a little traffic, so I was lucky. Well,
look, go well tomorrow, Joe. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Look at that. Nothing better than seeing somebody so stoked with a result like that. As you said, a pole at Daytona in your class is a wonderful achievement. And Joe Rubbo with a 1:44.8. Mascaro, Joe Rubbo suggested Mascaro was maybe caught by traffic. But either way, 0.2 of a second is not a huge margin between those two. And we can expect a great race between them. Brad Forver, Christopher Cagnazzi, Michael Porter, Rafael Durand, Jay Logan, Benoit Bergeron are your top 8. Venceslas, Musial, Acosta, Balkasun, Levy and Cruz Magnuszewski down to P15, 1.8 seconds across that particular lot, and then Slade Stewart down P16 plus 2.4. What a place. Pirelli is coming up next, so if you're not familiar with the categories, we have Pirelli and Pirelli Am, and then we have Shell and Shell Am. It's Trofeo Pirelli and Coppa Shell is their official names. So if you come up through the Ferrari driver program, you'll start in Shell Am, then up to Shell, then up to Pirelli Am, and then up to Pirelli. So these are our quickest drivers. You're on board with Tony Davis as we roll out from the pits. Tony Davis is currently P9 in the championship. Had a 10th and a 7th in Sonoma. The screen in the middle of your picture there is their rear view mirror. Effectively, they can't see anything through the rear of the car, so they have a screen in the middle to show them what's behind them. If that screen is full, you know the person behind you is very close. So Tony, quick drivers are heading out now. To be fair, I mean, you said Joe Rubio did a brilliant job of the 1:44.8. You can count him among those quick drivers. He may have to deal with some traffic from these guys himself, where he'll line up on the grid behind the Pirelli drivers. Roberto Perina rolling out as well, P6 in the standings at the moment, 1 DNF in Sonoma. So I guess we're going to look for these guys, to get the ultimate lap time, but also potentially to try and get back into the pits as early as possible. They're going to want a one shot if they can possibly pull it off.
Yeah, I would say the first concentration is how to see how fast they can really go. I mean, we saw some super fast top speeds yesterday. Here, maybe the skill level is a bit higher than with the previous group. So here, the play with the slipstream, how to warm up everything, and where you place your race car, compare your competitors. Here the importance of the slipstream might be even bigger, because a lot of drivers can do similar lap times, so the slightest gain can then change the positions on the top.
Dylan Medler, we were following a moment ago, who is P2 in the standings with 2 second places in Sonoma. He was quickest of all the drivers during the practice sessions, the official ones, with a 1:44.4. This is Jason McCarthy. You can just hear that cruise out lap, just warm it up smoothly. No wheel spin on the exit of the hairpins, don't get the car sideways, bring everything up to temperature nicely.
Yeah, the best way to heat up the tires and take up the tire temperatures, it's just drive 60, 70, 80%, then increase step by step how aggressive you can be with your race car. A lot of waving and stuff like that, I never really did and found that useful. Big gain is for tire temperatures, from the rotors, so from the brakes and through the wheel coming into the tire, the temperature that you can create over there. at the slow corners you can turn the steering wheel a bit more, so to exaggerate a little bit more with the steering input, and then driver with the experience, then he really feels when the tires are ready.
This is turn 4, which is a very quick kink. It's just a little roll off the throttle. I was talking to Medler yesterday, he said about 80% throttle maybe through there. Then this is the right-hander at turn 5. And now this corner is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, turn 6 is a very important corner. It takes you back to the banking, so to the oval, and then it's just full throttle from here on. And there's still some movement from the race car, so really lap time wise, I don't think this is going to be Tony's best lap of the whole qualifying. But at the same time, you need to go for it. The format is quite quick. We don't have a lot of time for each qualifying session. I love the fact that each category has their own track time, so there's a less probability that you run into the traffic. We see quite a lot of movement
on the brakes,
on the brakes going into the bus stop. We see you need to use aggressively the curbs, new curbs done for this year, yeah, I think Tony Davis, maybe the next lap or the lap after is going to be the best ones for him.
This is our quickest point on the circuit, so watch the dash. You can see he's currently in 6th gear, should pull 7th at some point onto the straight. There it is. And
also stay low,
yeah,
to cover the shortest distance, and then before turn 1 you can go up the banking or high on the oval again, and then prepare the car for the turn 1. You see very tight racing line through turn 1, trying to avoid that off-camber area mid to exit of turn 1.
Yeah, fantastic. Still looking at Davis now from the outside this time, and we cut away. He is quickest at the minute, well, 1:47.4, but that's definitely still a warm-up lap effectively, but that's a push lap, so I reckon the next one will be one where he's looking to try and get it. There is Marino Perina and
I think it's Massimo.
Sorry, Massimo Perino, yeah, and Roberto Perino.
Yeah, Massimo Perina, very interesting driver. We were really looking forward to this moment when he's racing in Pirelli with the 296. Last year he had a so good run with the 488 Challenge car, and he had a strong speed in Sonoma.
So there are two of them almost working together here on track, which is quite a handy situation if you're looking for a tow for a quick lap. That's what you can do with teammates, especially when it's family. Perina could have taken both wins at Sonoma. He was really unlucky. He crossed the white line at the start before he was allowed to and was given a penalty for that, and ended up dropping down to P4 in the first race. Pole in both races, fastest lap in both races. I mean, that is a pretty incredible debut.
Yeah, it shows the talent he has. Also, I was really impressed last year how cool he was all the time. Everything was under control with the damp racetrack, with the rain tires, with normal qualifying, normal restarts during the races. So very complete driver. And now he has moved up to 296 in Pirelli category, and yeah, his performance and the speed is there. Just to stay focused, not to make any mistakes, and when he does a perfect job, I think he's going to be up there.
Great Favre. Perina has gone quickest with a 1:44.3, sorry, so that's half a second quicker than Rubio went. Kaminsky's in there too. McCarthy is just a 10th off the top time for Pirelli Am. Through the bank section, when you stand up at the top in Casa Ferrari and watch the cars coming through there, you really do get an idea of the pace. As with everything on the TV, you just lose some of that. You know, there isn't any elevation change in the middle of the circuit. That's the first thing that you lose. Kaminsky coming through now, his elevation change, but the speed is the other thing. You know, panning around, when you stood up the top and you see that car coming around the banking, it is rapid. So Kaminsky coming up towards the timing loop. Let's see, 1:44.4 is the current lap. Gonna go quicker. Yes, goes quickest, 1:44.1. So Kaminsky has gone quickest, 0.2 quicker than Medler, who'd slotted in ahead of Perina. There is nothing in it, is there, between the 0.248 of a second across the top three, less than 300ths between Medler and Perina, but Kaminsky, that's a brilliant job. 1:44.1, 0.3 quicker than Medler went in any of those practice sessions. I mean, are we seeing here the slightly cooler track temperatures taking a few tenths off?
Yeah, for sure it's related to the track conditions. Cooler air means more top speed, but also that really the cars are light now. also the drivers are they have optimized everything setup-wise and also with the driving. Small differences with Massimo Pirina pushing for a fast lap earlier. I think Dylan Medler took a lap or two more to build up the temperatures, and this is also based on the information and the experience you got during the practice, and that's also key to find the last hundredths or last tenth of a second to when and how to use the most of the tire performance.
McCarthy really nicely through the bus stop there, very close to the wall, straight line braking. We saw on board earlier on there can be a lot of movement on the brakes. That then affects whether you hit your first two apexes. Got to hit the second of those apexes, because from turn 9 it's ideally flat out through 10 and 11 to take you onto the banking and away. So Massimo and Roberto Pirina, are they working together to try and get a quicker lap? I would suggest they maybe would be the other way around if they were looking for that, for the toe. No, they're off throttle, aren't they? So they're on their way in. So this, I think this is a good demonstration where in Pirelli, and we saw people trying to lap right until the last minute. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. So these guys are already on a cruise lap. So at 4 minutes of the session left to go, a third of the session left, they're rolling off and coming in. They don't want to cook those tyres. Yeah,
you need to save the tires for the race. Very strong performance, very tight battle with the leaders. Great lap from Kamiński. And yeah, I was predicting under 144, but 144.0 is a very strong performance.
It is very good. Wow, some noise there from the camera mounted on the pit wall. Oh, sorry, on the outer wall, not the pit wall. Wonderful stuff. So I think most people know this is Gray Fowler. No, I think rolled off as well. Hard to tell. 144.009. So I wonder how Medler and Pirina will feel about that. 0.3 of a second. It's a fair gap. Kamiński, 2 P3s last time. Sitting third in the standings, qualified 5th and 3rd in Sonoma. So pole is a fantastic result, assuming nobody does an incredible late lap, but I think with the usual suspects into the pits. Kamiński as well, very, very young. I think he's 16 years old, if I remember correctly. Youngest ever competitor in Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, very impressive performance.
It might be youngest, well, actually, there's no question about it. If he's the youngest ever competitor in Ferrari Challenge, that is the youngest ever pole in Ferrari Challenge, if nobody beats him, which is incredible. Dave Musial Jr. is still out there, currently P8 of the 8 drivers registered in this class this weekend on a 145.5. Can he get ahead of Roberto Pirina on this last lap over the timing line? No, unfortunately not. So just a few tenths off Pirina's pace. And with 12 seconds to go, and he can do another lap, but what do you think, Tony?
I think he backed off for this last lap. Here we see Massimo Pirina, P3. Not super happy.
And there's the opposite. Kamiński is over the moon. Let's go. Joe Rubio there with him, the pole man from Pirelli Am. Isn't that fantastic to see? 16 years old. The Stoke is absolutely at the highest level. There's his dad with him as well, brilliant Brian, who's raced previously. That is absolutely fantastic to see. That is the youngest ever pole in Ferrari Challenge. Johnny Kamiński is 16 years old.
Yeah, I met with them before dinner last night. Confident, but still looking forward to the day, and obviously great start for Saturday with the qualifying pole position. So great emotions again, celebrating on the pit lane.
Yeah, did a 144.7 during those practice sessions. So found 0.7 of a second. Obviously a mixture of doing a very, very good lap and potentially conditions being to his favour, but 0.3 of a second ahead of the I think you'd have to have Medler as the champion and Perina as the potential double winner, but the double pole man from the first event. They are the benchmark in this series, and Kaminsky has just gone 3/10 quicker. That's brilliant.
Yeah, also a mindset of a driver, because you go to an unknown. You don't know where is the limit of the performance, and you have those limited laps where you have the best performance from the tires. And yeah, like we see these young drivers, they are ready and showing his skills and talent and cool nerves at the moments where it counts.
Kaminsky did his lap on the 5th lap. So Medler and Perina on the 4th lap. Potentially Kaminsky's gone 1 lap a little bit harder on the tyres than the others. We don't know where, we can't tell from that. That's just what lap they did it on. We don't have a lap count as such. So I suppose what everybody's pretty fascinated about what's going to happen with tyre wear during the race. Who is running what settings for okay, Nina Jady's with Johnny Kaminsky. Let's get down there. The 16-year-old has taken the youngest ever pole position in Ferrari Challenge.
Johnny Kaminsky, youngest ever pole sitter for Ferrari Challenge. Tell us how you're feeling, my friend.
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, to get a pole here at Daytona and to get the opportunity to race here at Daytona is insane. It's something I dreamed of for a very long time, and to be here right now and standing with you is amazing. I mean, the car was on rails. It was freaky fast. The 111 team did a great job, so we love let's see it. Thank you for this opportunity, Jimmy Johns and my dad and my mom, for the sacrifice of me getting here, and it's amazing.
Where did you find that edge today in lap time?
Just came to me, and as soon as I put my helmet on, I got to lock in, and had a Jimmy John's sandwich before getting in the car. Yeah, and got a few tenths out of that, so yeah, freaky fast. Yep.
Well, good luck, Johnny, in the race. Well done.
So much. Thank you.
Freaky fast for Johnny Kaminsky. We can take a look at the results from that session in a moment. Absolutely brilliant. 16 years old and pole by quite some margin. Yes, posing for the single finger. Is he going to get that later on today? Can he take the win? Our cars are waiting and ready to roll out for the next session. But let's take a look at the results from Trofeo Pirelli. Johnny Kaminsky, 16 years old, takes the youngest ever pole position by 0.3 of a second, 1:44.009 from Dylan Medler and Massimo Perina, last year's champion, and certainly the quickest driver from the first weekend back in Sonoma. Gray Falvera in P4, Jason McCarthy P5, Tony Davis P6, Roberto Perina P7, and Dave Musial 2.0 is P8. Okay, on then to Coppa Shell. Shell Am, first of all. You can tell by the black top of the windshield there. Each of the categories has a different colour. So it's black for Shell Am, it's yellow for Coppa Shell. And we have white for Pirelli Am and red for Trofeo Pirelli. Marshall down there at the front of pit road, just waiting to give the drivers the thumbs up, and then they'll head out and try and get their tyres up to temperature. These guys obviously not as experienced as the drivers you've just seen. You've just seen the drivers with the most experience, the quickest drivers, the drivers who are, some of these guys will be career GT drivers. And Shell Am, you talk us through, Tony, the Ferrari, the strategy, if you like, the structure of the program to bring these drivers up to the point where they can go racing in the Shell Am category.
So I will start with the Corso Pilota. This is Ferrari's platform to take you on track, teach you, coach you, and help you to discover your skills. Then obviously with this set of 4 different categories, Ferrari balances the performance between the drivers and puts drivers with the similar speed and skill level, also based sometimes a little bit on the age. Different if we see 16-year-old driver, whoa, one of the drivers almost lost it at the pit exit.
That's wild, isn't it?
So if we have a 16-year-old driver in the Pirelli category here in the Shell Am, we have a little bit older drivers, drivers that maybe in their youth didn't have a lot of racing experience, and they are discovering the world of Ferrari and racing now in a later time in their life. Maybe the business world has been successful for them,
yeah.
And then through with their racing team, connection with their Ferrari dealer, combined with the very skilled driver coaches that Ferrari provides, and then you get the passion of racing, going fast on track. You don't need to go fast on the public road, so you go fast on track, and then this is the perfect way to challenge yourself and the race in a safe environment.
Melissa Kozira, who you're looking at a moment ago, saw her at breakfast this morning. Similarly, had struggled a little bit to get her head around the various different settings. She had been here for practice before, but never in a race environment, and I think, as many of the drivers, not nervous, but kind of excited to experience what it's like in a pack of cars coming around the banking at, you know, very, very high speeds, very, very high speeds, and then getting into turn one. Yeah, how brave are you feeling? What moves are on? And I'm expecting to see everybody come out of that race full of adrenaline as they go into turn one for the very first time. She was in great spirits, all smiles, having a brilliant weekend here. It's such a great experience for these drivers too. You know, Casa Ferrari is no doubt about it. It's a lovely place to go and chill out in between and talk to your fellow racers. I think everybody's, of course, there's a level of competition where you don't want to share what you've done when you're looking at for thousandths of a second in the Trofeo Pirelli. But I think certainly the Shell Am drivers, they're really enjoying the experience of going racing Ferrari, and they're up there telling stories with each other.
Yeah, and also with the quality of Casa Ferrari, it's a perfect place to take your sponsors, family, friends. They can enjoy the race weekends with you. Our perfect dinners, lunch time together, and the quality of everything that Ferrari does nowadays is very high level. And even for us traveling from Europe to these events is a great pleasure to be here. We have other activities around Ferrari Challenge. So we have Club Challenge, where you don't go racing. We do have lap time, but there you can build your skill level. The other thing is Club Competizione GT, where we can see cars like 488 Modificata, but also cars with a strong racing history in the endurance and GT racing worldwide. And these events are just a perfect way to spend time on track, go fast, and then have good times outside the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant experience. It really is a pleasure to be involved with it. You're looking at Gabe Pribb, currently P2 in the standings, had a second and a third in Sonoma, was pole at the second race in Sonoma. Jeff Nürnberg now. Jeff is P3 in the standings. He won the first race and was 7th in the second one with the fastest lap, and all smiles after it as well. And a few moments ago we were looking at Lance Corley, who had really mixed fortunes back in Sonoma. Took the pole for race one and then ended up as a DNF. Didn't take the start in the second race. So Lance Corley will really be looking, here he is, to get it done here. After if you've got the pole, you know you're there, you know you're quick, and then for it to all go so horribly wrong, he'd be really hoping for a strong weekend. Let's see where he was during the practice sessions. Was P16 overall, but P5 of the Shell Am drivers with a 148.5 was his quickest. So we'll see what he can do here. But at the minute, we're still very much on warm-up laps. I think Matt Herfield has set a decent time. Yes, and this is... So Matt Herfield and Stephanie Herfield are husband and wife. Stephanie's livery is epic. It's like a kind of a galaxy paint job on the car. It looks absolutely stunning. The Musials go for a good livery as well. See just a few inputs on the steering wheel, and you can see the difference in terms of experience of a driver who'll take one bite of the cherry and then feeling the grip. And that's all part of the learning process.
Yeah, it's true. Also building up the tire temps. There's different ways to do it. Like we said, these drivers have a little bit less experience, but at the same time, they go really fast on track. And we started the session now with the lap times around 150, and I think there will be still some improvements to come.
Husband and wife, you're looking at Matt Herfield. He's currently in the pole on a 150.2, ahead of his wife on a 151.8. Husband and wife front row lockout, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Little way to go in the session yet, but you never know. They were very, very close to each other in terms of lap time in Sonoma, really close. That makes for some interesting conversations at the dinner table, doesn't it? We talk about it a lot in motorsport. Obviously, you always have a teammate. Your teammate's one of your biggest competitors because they have the same data as you. That obviously everybody has the same car here, but when you're in the same team, you can share the data, share the onboards. We've seen plenty of brothers in motor racing history, but yeah, things like Ferrari changed. We've got lots of fathers and sons, we've got uncles, but husband and wife, that's next level. Oh, okay, Sperman goes quickest, 148.0, so some 1.2 seconds with Nürnberg P2, Rib P3, Corley P4. So now those drivers who were at the top of the standings in Sonoma have really started to get the quick laps in. All four travelling together, we think, roughly on track, so that will have helped a little bit.
I think there was a little moment going into turn one. These three drivers just had to slow down straight after their fast laps. I think Jeffrey Nürnberg was involved there. I think no contacts, but yeah, they had to pack off from their next lap and get ready for the next one.
Yeah, so at that point, there's no point wasting the tyres for that lap, is there? You'll roll off the whole lap, get on with your spotter and try and find a gap in the traffic, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
There is quite a disparity in terms of pace from the front to the back of the field in Coppa Shell, which is understandable. As I say, the drivers are learning a bit more. That means they come across traffic a bit more often, which isn't a bad thing when you're picking up those skills. You need to know how and where to pass, where's safe, you know, what signals are you getting from the other driver as to what they're going to do. Do they know you're there? Steve Czech coming round onto the back straight. Steve was third at the first race in Sonoma and a DNF in the second one. In terms of qualifying, though, qualified third and second in Sonoma. So Czech here looking for a decent lap time. What can he do? You'll see the timing line coming into the bottom of your screen any moment now. There it is over the painted checkered flag. Czech goes into P6. 1.3 seconds off that top pace. P7 now, just another driver sneaking in ahead. Stephanie Herfield with the fantastic livery again coming around. Herfield at the moment is in P10. I think she's going to stay there after that one. Doesn't change on the timing screen here. 3 minutes 20 left for these drivers. Tony, do you think they'll stay out longer? You know, are they going to be somewhat less concerned with making sure they've saved some tenths in the tyres?
Yeah, I think the story here is with these drivers in a Shell Am, more laps they can do. There is still some performance to be unlocked. It's a little bit more challenging for them to deliver in that short window of the top and the peak performance of the tire. So actually going for the whole session might improve their qualifying place a lot, and that means that then you are racing in the right group. You are racing with the drivers that are in real life are your speed, matching your lap times, and that is maybe more important than trying to save 1 lap or 2 laps on the race tires. So that's why I think they will go for the whole session. Maybe you can have 1 cool down lap, 2 laps before the checkered flag, and then have another go for the 2 fast laps.
So Ed Vartugin has gone to the top of the timesheets. Now, he was qualified 19th and 18th in Sonoma, so this is an absolutely brilliant performance.
And very strong lap time also, if you compare it to the Pirelli drivers.
Yeah. 0.5 of a second ahead of Sperman in P2. So Vartugin has banged in an absolutely fantastic lap there. So we may see some late movement on the timing screen in this session. So they might, as Tony just beautifully explained, might well take a few tenths out of their laps into their tyres for lap times later on in the day, but it doesn't really matter if they manage to unlock half a second. As you can see, Vartugin had, Sperman goes quicker. So Sperman has just clocked in at the top of the time screen, 1:47.444. Michael Owens rolling back to the pits, the Canadian driver in P3 at the moment. Owens was had a P2 in Sonoma, so we'd expect to be nicely up the timesheets. Alhegi Still sounds like he's on it up through the banking. So if he drops down onto the flat here, you'll know he's coming into the pits. And if not, then certainly finishing this flying that. And time for one more. So the clock comes down, and when it hits 0, the checker comes out. You can pass the start-finish line one more time at that point, so you can finish the lap you're on effectively. Heggie was P13 and remains there at the moment. I think we're now starting to see people cruise in. Owens is in the pits, Patel is in the pits. Okay, so Patel I met yesterday, very first ever race weekend here. Came to this track as a kid, lives in the area, so he's making his race debut, having gone through the programme, Corsa Pilota, to get to this stage. He's good friends with Sebastian Mascaro, and he said him and Sebastian were super close together on lap times everywhere. He said Mascaro's gone off and done 1 season of racing, and he said I'm nowhere near him. So I said you can't let him have another season's experience to get away. So he's come here and he's making his racing debut. Imagine making your debut at your home track, and that's Daytona. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, those are dream come true moments, and it's also, it has been impressive to see even during last season our 296 drivers, how much of an improvement you actually do during the season, because you concentrate every time, you try to improve 1/10, 2/10, but then with the experience you just get more confidence with the car, find its strong qualities, and then you can improve your driving. And if you come back to Daytona towards the end of the season with the Shell driver, there is a huge performance improvement just from the experience side of the driver.
Fantastic. End of the session, checker flag is out. So Fabian Sperman at the top of the table. I think he's unlikely to be beaten, but have we got somebody on a push lap here right at the end? Gabe Hrib, so Hrib could be a threat here. Gabe Hrib currently sitting in P5, coming up to the checker flag now, going to cross the line. Can he go any higher on the timing sheets than he already is? And no. Down at turn 1, stays in P6. And I think he is the last of the drivers to stop the checker flag. He is. So that's Coppa Shell Am qualifying over Fabian Sperman with the pole. Great performance. Steve Check rolling back to the pits as well. We've got 1 qualifying session left to come for Coppa Shell. So these are the Coppa Shell drivers who are parked kind of diagonally to the wall. They'll roll out from there, put themselves out on the side. Oswaldo Gallo waiting for his session. But let's take a look at the results from the session we just seen, which is Coppa Shell Am. At the top of the list, Fabian Sperman with a 1:47.444. Then it's Ed Vartugi and Michael Owen, Steve Check, Melissa Kozira up in P5. That is a fantastic result. Having seen her this morning, should be over the moon with that, I'm sure. Gabe Hrib in P6, Lance Corley and Jeffrey Nunberg are your top 8. Only 1.6 seconds across those drivers. Matthew Herfield, Stephanie Herfield, the husband and wife team qualifying again next to each other, just half a second between them. Danny Patel on his race debut here. This is his local circuit. It's his first ever race meeting, having come up through Corsa Pilota, is P11, and he'll be pleased with that as well. David Williams, Al Heggie, and Louis Flory down to P14. 1 session left to go. Coppa Shell. Drivers are lined up. We've got 15 cars, I think, lined up, ready to go. Look at that, yes. Oh, great. You know what? Everybody today has properly enjoyed getting pole position. We haven't got anybody, not that people are miserable, but some people are cool. You know, some people just play it cool. Oh, you know, I'm cool, I've got pole. I'm glad to say so far nobody has played it cool. Everyone has just been absolutely fired up. Fabian Sperman is no different, just really, really pleased to have got the job done in, as Tony said, a very limited window. And for these drivers who aren't used to having to bang in that perfect lap straight away, you know, they know they're climbing up that ladder and they're learning. And to get pole is a wonderful achievement, and especially at such a legendary place. Bit of heat haze out there as well. Temperatures coming up during the course of the day. 46 Fahrenheit is what our screen says at the minute. Nina Jade is down with Fabian Sperman now, so let's go and hear from him.
Fabian, congratulations. What an amazing lap. How did you find that session?
Yeah, it was good. The track was great. With new tires, it's a different story. At the beginning, I have some traffic, but then I was able to do my lap. It was good. It was good. Really fun.
What's your plan for the race later?
Sorry?
What's your plan for the race?
Try to stay in track. It's too many cars. We are starting from the midfield because first Shell and then Shalam. The plan is to stay in track in the first laps and then do my race.
Stay on track and take the win.
Thank you. We'll try. Thank you.
Love to see it. It's great, isn't it? What a brilliant reaction. Wonderful. Over the moon with this performance, and rightly so. Track temperature is definitely not 46 Fahrenheit. It was about that when we left the hotel this morning. It's much warmer than that now. And say temperatures are going to come up during the course of the day. It is cooler than yesterday. Yesterday we saw 28 Celsius. Tony, you good at Fahrenheit? Are you any good at Fahrenheit? I bet you've got a calculation for it. He's got a brilliant calculation, Tony has, for kilometres to miles. Us Europeans, so Tony's Finnish, so he does kilometres. I'm English, so I do miles. But temperatures, I do Celsius, and I'm well aware that most of our American friends do Fahrenheit. So we're trying to figure out now. Yesterday was 28 Celsius, and today is 22 Celsius is what they're predicting.
Yeah, 20 Celsius is around 68 to 70 Fahrenheit, so
yeah,
our screen is not really telling the truth.
No, definitely is not telling the truth. It's shorts weather, people. That's what you need to know.
Maybe it's Amanda trying to check if we are...
whether we're on it.
Yeah.
Our producer checking if we're on it with the information. We're fired. That's a proper livery as well out the track. You can see the chrome. Warm-up laps for these guys. They will have some data now. Tony, how much do they share among the teams? Obviously, you know, so we've got familiar names here: Ferrari, Lake Forest, Ferrari, Seattle, Ferrari of Naples. Some of these drivers, some of these teams have already had drivers in the previous sessions. How much will they share between and say, look, this is cool, that corner's not so good?
I mean, over the practice sessions, I think it's an open game inside a team between the drivers of the different categories, just to see the data, where the improvements are. Obviously, the fastest driver of the team has always a little bit the privilege to help the other drivers, give advice regarding what gear use in the different corners, braking points, reference points on track. In a qualifying session in a format like this, if a team is running drivers in different categories, you get the information on tire temperatures, also the pressures, and on what lap you could expect to have the best performance on the tires. So there is you use the information, you share the information in a qualifying format like this, but also regarding the races as well.
And Kirchmeier in the 101, another driver we didn't see at Sonoma. Plenty of these drivers obviously have other commitments than racing, so they don't make it to every round. We also took a look at Mitchell Green in the 179. Mitchell Green had almost the perfect weekend. And when I say almost, all he was missing was one fastest lap. Took pole in both races, the win in both races, the fastest lap in the second race at Sonoma. So Mitchell Green is our man to watch. Brian Waltersdorf in the 111 had a 12th place finish twice.
Yeah, Mitchell Green, very interesting driver, has also improved a lot from last season. And I also saw, was it in the beginning of this week or last week, I saw him on Scuderia Corsa social media driving with the Formula 2 car.
Ah,
so
really?
Testing and driving as well with the single-seater car, maybe to unlock some more performance even after Sonoma. So great start for the season for Mitchell.
Yeah, here he is heading up the banking now. Say this is your championship leader. and so far unbeaten in qualifying or racing this year. If he continues like that, he'll certainly be heading up towards the Pirelli category next year. At the moment, it's Chuckwood at the top of the timing screen for the 1:48.1. Let's have a look and see what lap most of these drivers are on. They're only on their second lap, so again we'll see more pace unlocked. Mitchell Green is second, 0.5 of a second off. Viskup and Bilicek, P3 and P4, Waltersdorf, P5. Everybody else yet to do a quick lap. Bruce Cleveland, Ferrari of Silicon Valley. What a noise. Doesn't resonate quite so much as if you've got a full banking, you know, and the grandstands around you everywhere. You don't get the noise coming back at you quite so much, but the one enormous grandstand here is enough to be amplifying that noise out over the local airport. I suspect we're louder than the local airport. I hope so. 101,500 seats here for the incredible events like Daytona 500 and the 24 Hours of Daytona as well, and it's brilliant to have these drivers come here and experience such an iconic venue, and it really is.
It is, but also what comes to our race car with the 296 Challenge car, Ferrari has closed the gap to the GT3 car, so the cornering speeds with this 296 car that was presented for last season, they're way higher. Car is performing better in the corners, pulling more G-forces in the corner, but then the top speed as well. On tracks like this here in Daytona, just the top speeds between 300 and 315 kilometers per hour, almost 200 miles per hour. It's very impressive. It takes a lot on the drivers as well. You need to have a very sharp and good concentration all the time, good car control as well. And here we see some car control, some sideways coming up to turn one.
Mitchell Green's just destroyed the time sheet. Sorry to interrupt, Tony. Look, he's gone 1.4 seconds quicker than Chuck Whittle. Again, some drivers still on their outlaps, but that's a decent time straight away.
Yeah, that's very strong performance.
But sideways in turn one.
Yeah, sideways in turn one. But this car, it takes more from the driver to be able to put the 296 Challenge car to its limits. But then when you're able to do it, like in this qualifying session now, Mitchell Green is showing, it gives just a different feeling to a driver.
John Viskup through that left kink. That rear shot was wonderful there. You could really see the car moving around on the way into it. Kirchmeier has just moved up into P2.8 of a second off, so Chuck Whittle now down into P3, and I think these will be the push laps for these guys with 5 minutes remaining in qualifying here at Daytona for Coppa Shell. It's our second weekend of action this year, with 6 race weekends, of course, in the USA, and then Finale Mondiali in Italy at the end of the year. For those drivers that want to go and continue their journey and try and take those titles, we ride on board now with Chuck Whittle up on the banking. Is that really what the view's like, Tony? Is it just banking in front of you? Where are you looking on the road?
Yeah, this is true. The visual is very limited when you are in the middle of the deepest part of the banking. It's very important to keep the car in one place. You cannot really, during the corner, change from low to high. It takes a little bit of concentration and to where to point with the race car exit of that banking area. Always the first laps after a little break here in Daytona, it takes a little bit of time to get used to it, because it's completely different feeling. But after that, it's just areas where you go full throttle. You can feel the car moving completely differently than on a normal circuit. But yeah, you get used to it pretty quickly.
Cleveland moved up into P2 just for a moment. Now Kirchmeier does, and is just 0.087 off the pole lap of Mitchell Green. So Green is not going to have it all his own way here. There's 2 drivers within 0.2 of a second. That's going to keep things lively up at the front of the grid. And with 3 minutes 20 remaining, these drivers, it's a bit more of a question mark, isn't it? The Shell Am guys, yes, they want more laps because they're still learning, as you say, to extract the pace. But these guys are getting towards the Pirelli pace. They're really borderline as to whether they want to use the tyres now to try and find performance, or save it for the race. What do you do?
Yeah, it is true. You see the predicted lap time on the screen, on the dash of your race car. Once you posted your fastest lap time, normally the procedure would be that you keep going for it until you see the predicted lap time that you are not really improving, and then maybe it's a call with your team saying like, hey, I'm 2/10 down, or I'm losing lap time here, I cannot improve anymore, and then often you hear, okay, beat this lap, we save tires for the race. So it's also a little bit of communication between the driver and the team. We heard some rev limiter coming out of the bus stop. Also communication with the tires and how to progress with your qualifying, and then always the process is to have the best tires possible for the race.
So Cleveland it was who was on the rev limiter coming through. You're looking at Bilacek, who remains P14 on a 1:49.8, some 4 seconds off the quickest time of Mitchell Green. Say 0.8 of a second, 1 second over the top 6 drivers. Biscup, Bernier, Whittle, Cleveland, Kirchmeier and Green at the top of the timesheets. Minute 50 to go. Kirchmeier's just gone quickest, so Kirchmeier has just nicked it from Mitchell Green by nearly 0.2 of a second, and Mitchell Green is in the pits. So Green is in the pits. You can see the little P up on your screen, says he's parked it. So Mitchell Green felt he couldn't go any quicker, or felt he didn't want to use the tyres anymore. Kirchmeier has stayed out. Let's look at their relative lap times. We've got a tool here that we can use to see what lap they've done it on. Now, to be fair, Mitchell Green and Kirchmeier both did it on their 5th lap, so they've both put the same number of laps in. Interestingly, Bruce Cleveland has only done it on his 2nd lap, according to our screens, which is very early.
Yeah, sometimes with these qualifyings is also, if you want to risk a little bit, you go out on track a little bit later, but there's also a risk of yellow and red flag, meaning that then you're going to lose that lap. Yeah, I mean, very tight battle in this shell category, and just 2/10 separating the top 2 drivers.
So yeah, it doesn't look like Mitchell Green is going to try and respond by coming out. Probably not enough time, to be honest, with say 30 seconds remaining. Definitely not now. Biscup coming towards the end of the session, 15 seconds to go. And now you can hear from the engine note that most drivers have backed off. So I'll just say that a bit sideways down in the international horseshoe there, which is turn 3. 3.81 of a mile for the Daytona 24 layout. The track was built in 1959. The back chicane was added in 1973, if you're wondering, the bus stop, and modified in 2003. And then a fair bit of reprofiling in 1984 and 1985 to turn 1 and 2. And moving turn 3 a little bit nearer to turn 2. So there have been lots of different iterations of this track. There's another chicane, I think, that NASCAR use when they're here. There's a few different layouts. But you can't help but smile when you walk into this place. It is absolutely... Do you know what? You smile when you drive down the road towards it. It's my first time here at Daytona, and we came around the corner on the freeway, and suddenly this enormous building loomed on the right, and I was like, oh wow, that's it. And enormous Daytona International Speedway sign down the back of it. The grandstand's 0.9 of a mile long, Tony. I know you've been here a few times, but I haven't, and I love, you know, when you go somewhere new, we're so lucky to go to so many racetracks. It's very rare that I come somewhere and think, this is unbelievable, this place is wild.
Yeah, the buildings and the whole structure here is huge. I also love the fact, old school style of pit boxes. Everybody is together.
Cool,
all the cars are next to each other. It doesn't matter which team you are in, and that's very nice. I must say, very good 4 qualifying sessions from our Ferrari Challenge drivers. No yellow flags, no spins, no red flags, and very fast lap times. So we had a great start for the day.
Yeah, we certainly did. We saw 2 spins at Sonoma during Coppa Shell during qualifying, which lost those guys a fair bit of lap time, and obviously not so this time around. Brilliant performance by Ernst Kirchmeier, who I say wasn't with us at the first weekend. There he is. I'm sure there's a famous skier called Kirchmeier, but I might be wrong. There's some very, it's a very Austrian name. Proper thumbs up. Ernst Kirchmeier, pole by 0.192 of a second. There's pit road, and the teams all build their little tents down there. Look, the golf buggies, hundreds of golf buggies. It takes a long time from get to Casa Ferrari right the way round. All the drivers have got their own golf buggies with their names on. You can't help thinking that 1 or 2 golf buggy races have already happened here this weekend. Yeah, let's go to lunch. There's still there's still a race to be won on the way to lunch with 2 golf buggies, isn't there? Any opportunity. Quick chat there with one of the Conquest team. Ernst Kirchmeier takes the pole, 145.6 from Mitchell Green last time. Held on to the pole here, looked like he was going to get 3 in a row, but Kirchmeier has denied him, so Mitchell Green will be second on the grid. Bruce Cleveland, Chuck Whittle, Jan Bernier up there in P5, John Viscott, Brad Evans, Gary Ott down to P8, 1.5 seconds across the top 8. Then it's John Lennon, Osvaldo Gaio, Jarrett Bilacek, Brian Waltersdorf, Alberto Duran, Henry Hummel and Andrew Parker to P15. And Nina Jade is down in pit road, and she's got hold of her poleman, Ernst Kirchmeier.
And it's fabulous lap from you. It's no doubt a couple of the drivers have been struggling to find their rhythm this weekend so far. What gave you the edge? How was that lap for you?
To be honest, I had a very good car, excellent car from Conquest. The setup, everything was amazing. It was easy to drive, and I could handle the tire. And so I'm absolutely happy to stay at pole in Daytona. I cannot believe it, to be honest. Okay, but it looks like it is it. And Daytona always was on my bucket list because now I'm 69 years old and I have to work very fast on my bucket list. And one of these was Daytona, and it's for me unforgettable.
Good. 69 years old. You certainly don't look at Ernest. You look amazing. How are you feeling about the race later?
About the
race.
I don't know the rules here exactly. They are other than in Europe. I'm till now never drove in USA, so but the team will inform me what I have to do, and I try my best and stay relaxed.
You got this. Best of luck. All right. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
69 years young, I say, Ernst Kirchmeier on his debut in the USA, ticking off the bucket list. And I'll tell you what, racing at Daytona was on the bucket list. I don't know whether or not he thought he'd get pole. It's a fantastic performance by him in the 101. Watch out for him later on today. I'm Andrew Coley. My thanks to Tony Verlander and to Nina Jade Paul for a brilliant session of qualifying here. If you'd like to join us for race 1 later on today, it is at 1:10 Eastern time. So 10 past 1 p.m. this afternoon Eastern time. And you can catch up with everybody here at Ferrari Challenge North America. We'll see you then.
Well, I mean, this has been a theme in my life for 65 years. You know, longer than I've been with my wife, longer than I've been with my children. And it's something that, it's kind of a nice thing to have, kind of pins my life together and all the things around that happened to me. The car we're talking about today is the 250 California in its short wheelbase version. My name is Peter Calico. We are in my house in Westchester County, New York. It's been a thing of my interest since I was 15 years old. When I came home from camp in 1958, I think, my mom bought that magazine for me about Ferraris. I was amazed by the cars, amazed by the performance. And of course that coincided with Ferrari's winning streak at the racetrack and its publicity with, you know, people buying them and things like that. I had a 250 long wheelbase since the 1980 maybe. I always wanted a short wheelbase, and every time I wanted to buy one, the price had gone up. And finally, one day I had to make my mind up. I said, that's it, we're gonna get it. Whatever they want, we're gonna take. I was lucky because we got a pretty unusual example. It has the competition engine, radio, seat belts, pinstripe, things that don't usually find on a car like that. I said, I'm taking it, that's it. Portofino M is a fantastic car. Absolutely. I think it's clear when you drive any new Ferrari, the heritage that it takes from the old Ferraris. The steering, handling, the speed, of course. So it's a long time, but I can feel the bloodline in them. It's just obvious to me anyway. It was one of the great things that Ferrari did, and they just stepped into the business of helping collectors identify their cars, say what was on the car. They give you the build sheets, and all of that says to me that Ferrari cares about its heritage. It cares about its past. And I always had a phrase that if a company doesn't look to its past, it has no future.
The second year in Daytona, one of the most important races in the world. I'm really proud and honored to be here. We want to score a good result. Last year, I think we had a really strong car and a really strong lineup. This year, we come back stronger and we hope for a good race. For now, everything is going well. It's a good test actually, even if it's an important race. It's a good test for the car, but for now it's all going well. So far it's been a tough race, but we are taking some positive things as well. We are learning the car, we are the first race with this car, so we have to take this in consideration as well.
This was the first race of the 296. The team did a really great job altogether. We worked very hard from day one. We collect a lot of data, the way to improve everything, but we are just happy. We will see next round where we can be.
35 years ago, Ferrari did the almost unthinkable and built a production road car that did over 200 miles an hour. In so doing, they created the icon of icons. This is the F40, and it's glorious.
This immaculate, beautiful F40 belongs to lifetime Ferrari fan Jerry Levy, and he's kindly lent it to us today to remind me what this outrageous road racer is all about. Although, to be honest, it's such a wild car that every drive I've had in F40s is etched forever in the mind. Let's just say the F40 leaves an indelible impression.
The SF90 embraces technology to empower a whole new generation to go faster than they ever imagined. Well, today we're going to find out.